Laura, you have a story out today, and I think the headline says it all. Bye-bye bonus. So
Yes.
Tell me what your reporting shows us we should expect out of the banks.
So, I mean, essentially what, as you said, that says it all. The bonuses for this year are probably going to be pretty low, just based on looking at the net income estimates from these different banks. We had a lot of analysts who've pulled them back after Brexit and said, look, we're not going to have a lot of interest rate rises like we thought, like we were hoping this year, and so we're going to have to pull back these estimates. So that's essentially going to hurt your bonus down the line.
Now, I heard from some of the banks that right after, I mean, literally the 24th and the 27th, the trading days after Brexit, there was actually a huge uptick, particularly in FX exchange and things, and they get commissions off of that. So they probably got some revenue off of that, didn't they?
Yes, we have some analysts saying that, you know, there are, JP Morgan had come out and said, hey, this is actually one of the best times that we've ever had for FX trading. So I think that there are some banks that will benefit, but the question is whether that week was really enough to overwhelm the rest of the quarter, which really wasn't all that great. It was better, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of choppy trading going into Brexit as well.
So where specifically does Brexit hurt a bank when it looks at its operating statement, where its income's going to be coming from? Where does it get hit the worst?
It's really an indirect effect from Brexit. You'll see, like you said, probably some of these trading upticks for that week, but where you're going to see the hurt is actually from the interest rates. And a lot of these banks are positioned in such a way that not having interest rate rises like we thought is going to hurt them down.
So net interest margins are going to be down or be squeezed, but they won't be worse than they were. I mean, they've already been pretty low. So comparatively, should they really get hurt?
I think for this quarter, the sort of everyone's saying, look, it's going to start to bleed in and it's going to be okay. It's not going to be great. Certainly not going to overcome our really bad quarter last quarter. But I think the real thing for Brexit is going forward into the third quarter and the fourth quarter, you're not going to have these rises.
And what about investment banking? Mergers and acquisition activity, where is that standing right now?
That's probably also when we talked to the banks in June, early June, they were saying, look, we're probably seeing a bit of an uptick for certain areas. They didn't go quite so far as to say that for M&A transactions. But now with Brexit, most analysts believe that that uptick that we saw is gone.
So we're talking largely about the big 6 banks, right?
Yes.
Differentiate among them. Who's likely to get hurt worse and who may make it out a little better?
Well, you mentioned JP Morgan. We mentioned that earlier. That's probably one area. Goldman Sachs has a lot of their trading, so they may benefit as well. And you might also see something from Citigroup, too.
Interesting. And what about Wells Fargo? Where's Wells Fargo, particularly with mortgages?
Yes, Wells Fargo, as you know, they are really a big mortgage lender, the biggest one. So we'll probably see a bit of a bright spot for them for this quarter at least, as people do more refinancings, go out and get a mortgage. We don't really know how long that's going to last, but at least for the short-term period, it's going to be good for them.
There also, I believe, according to your piece, there's a year-over-year comparison issue with Goldman,
yes,
where Goldman may come out looking pretty good because they had such a bad quarter last year. What was that about?
Yeah, so Goldman was actually one of the only of the big 6 who was rising up. I think 39% we may see. That's just because last quarter their comp was just so bad. They had a lot of legal costs unexpectedly. So hopefully we don't see that this quarter, there will be a rise.